Hi friends, welcome back. Let's take a look at Chainlink. And as you can see here in the 4 hour time frame, all we've had is just this kind of downward price action here. I know there's a bit of a mess here. What we've been rejected from, so to speak, would be up here at this line that we were looking at before. If I just stick on the 24 hour time frame just to make things a bit easier to kind of get the fuller picture on. We've got, we've been rejected from around about here, the golden pocket area. We spoke about this yesterday in the video. It's no surprise really overall. Where we've come down as far as almost pretty much is the 50% area. Now, I'm not going to reiterate this again. I've said it in so many videos in the past, but moving down below this area here would obviously create a valid Fibonacci retracement. If I move this in wick to wick, I don't know what it was before. The other one, this is just on this swing low here, previous swing low to swing high. We're past that Fibonacci retracement, but we don't need that on there. Anyway, we kind of know the chat there. We've come down and we've not made it quite as far as the 50%. So you want to see it turn around at the 50%. Otherwise, you're looking at the 236 equivalent sort of, no, not like that, sorry. The equivalent of a 236 Fibonacci retracement, as you can see quite clearly there. That's sort of the equivalency of that. So yeah, we don't need that on there though. We're going to remove it. So we want to see the prices sustain themselves above 44,696 and then move towards the top side yet again. But we've had this downward price action. The volume's diminishing as we're doing it. Coming in here, could we set a higher low in? Well, a higher low could come in anywhere, even as far down as where the 21 EMA is. So you could remain bullish on this overall down to 43,000, 42,000. Going beyond that, really, potentially you could say that the previous low was actually here in this area, just here, and that I would agree with you. In which case you'd be looking at 42,000. But of course, at that point, you're moving down past the to the 618 on this as well. So that would give you another reason for potential turnaround, or else indeed that's the 382, sorry, or else indeed retracement. This is from this that's Fibonacci drawn in from there to there, right? Actually, let me just draw one in. I hate the amount of noise in the chart right now. But again, I already spoke about this at the start, but you're looking here at 44,500 or so to stay above the 236 on this move. So you want to see that happening overall with that one. So anyway, enough with this here. I've done pretty good technical analysis in terms of the last few days here looking at this one, and I'd invite you to go ahead and watch yesterday's video. The things haven't really changed overall that much, other than the fact that we've got this sort of more or less the move that we thought we might get overall here. Do I want this Fibonacci on here? No, I don't. If anything, I can just put it there. That's where it's lining up. Actually, get rid of that one as well. There's too much noise in this chart, isn't there, everybody? There's too much noise. So yeah, looking at that, or else we could be going down towards these areas if we don't see a turnaround really there. Looking towards whether this was divergent. Well, it wasn't. This is a healthy uptrend ever since May the 7th. We're in a healthy enough uptrend that doesn't have any divergence on it too much. So let's look towards the 4 hour time frame though and see what do we see. Is this going to be like an Adam and Eve pattern or something like that? Well, the neckline could freeze for that around about the 42,000 area, 43,000. That's the previous lows. Breaking down below there, of course, you've got a couple of reasons for going down. One of them being that you're breaking past your previous low area, and you could be looking down towards these other areas like the 50% or these 50% Fibonacci retracement areas here, for instance. Just in general, there's been a bit of a pullback. That's all healthy enough to see. This is still a higher high and higher low. Looking at the oscillators, though, we have a higher high here, but it's lower on the RSI. So this is bearishly divergent. So what about the stochastics? Well, it's not bearishly divergent. And what about this here? It's managed to just avoid it here, but compared to the 1st of June, really where the high is, it is actually bearishly divergent. So unlike this, more like this. So there's two cases of bearish divergence here. So maybe we'll come down here and maybe we'll actually move on a bit further here. I wouldn't be too surprised, but partly this is a function of the Bitcoin pricing, and it really depends. How's Bitcoin doing now? Actually, it's been another 10 minutes. Oh, it's gone down further. It's 9774. So we're having a pullback in Bitcoin. Maybe we'll see things. If things in Bitcoin land, again, I recommend you watch the Bitcoin video so you know what I'm talking about here. If we're to do something like this here, head and shoulders, for instance, then you could see the link Bitcoin prices go up regardless of the movement in the dollar prices, which we're now looking at here. So on the dollar chart, we've got a lower high. This high is previous is lower than that. So unlike the Bitcoin one, which is higher, the dollar one is lower. So looking down here, you can see that's divergent. But we can start asking questions about whether or not this is going to end up being a downward trend, or if indeed this is a low and this is not a local low yet, but we're coming in to make the higher high. So we've still got a target in mind towards the top side of $4.20. Sorry, $4. and 63 cents. We've done the $4.21 ages ago. And we're being supported, as opposed, by the way, by the 4-hour 21 EMA. But I'm not really all that interested in the 4-hour time frame, because what is it? It's nothing really. Instead, looking at the daily time frame, and you can see that we're not bearishly divergent. We managed to shake off the shackles of this downward move here, and we've broken above currently above the wedge, and this wedge sort of area, and we've come into the bullish control zone briefly, and maybe we'll come back down and give this a retest of this, having moved out of it, and then to say, well, is it going to act as support? And then maybe we'll get our measured move up into the oversold territory, which could see some price action coming towards the top side, which indeed I think would have a feedback mechanism for the Bitcoin pricing. And then we can look towards this, having move past the 618 up towards the 786 at 50,000 Satoshis. And that's what your base case for making that argument would really boil down to, would be kind of how we break out from these areas. Likewise, in the stochastics, we come past our trend line, slightly into the overbought territory. That's good to see, more or less, and we're still going up above with this trend line, so that's all good. Let's see if we can get this is now to act as support or whatever if we need it to. And the DM positive is actually just about to cross the DM negative, so we want to see this actually, we want to see this continue now, and and with the volatility, which is due to be upside volatility, with the DM negative, the ADX line having come down below 10, it's down there at 8. I expect volatility. There hasn't been much volatility here, so there's a chance that we get a breakout soon on this one, despite the fact that there's not a sort of a triangular pattern to look to say, like, we've come so far in this pattern. Instead, we're in a parallel channel, so looking instead for other ideas about when we might see a breakout from this thing. And we could maybe see that, which could maybe take us up to $5.20. So that would be your target, $5.20, 50,000 Satoshis, should we get some good movement on this one as a result of this positive price action. But of course, slightly overbought territories here on the stochastics. We've come into the bullish control zone. Will we get rejected in our first pass? Will we see things cool off a little bit beforehand and then maybe do it later on? Sure, we could. There's no need to. I wouldn't start counting chickens just yet. Let's see if we can see this area of 430 operate as support for us in the meantime, should we need it, as it has done already today, and continue to do so as we look towards trying to break past 460 or so, to ask the question as we go past the 886, making a full 100% retrace compared to our previous highs, and actually go up and make a higher high on the daily time frame on the dollar price since the high that we put in March, before the big drop. That would be a complete turnaround since the awful price action towards the downside, which saw the price of Chainlink go as far as $1.50, and the price of being back at $5 again would be crazy. If you didn't take profit in there, then you're greedy at that point, and greedy at any of these levels really on the way up there. But of course, if things go very well, then looking at the weekly time frame, just to put things in context, we are currently sat there just below the 450 area, getting up above 450 towards the top end of this channel, and closing at the week. Should it take us the next 5 days or so to do it, for instance, then we're putting in a higher high in the weekly, and maybe we'll get the movement up towards the $5 area that we've been looking for since all the way back in March. Otherwise, at least if we can get the higher high set in there, having had a higher low in, then we can say that the weekly trend is still continuing versus the dollar price, and then indeed versus the Bitcoin price towards the upside. If we were to go up towards 50,000 Satoshis and close out there in the weekly time frame up above, say, 51,000 or so, 51.5 for the Bitcoin pairing. Okay, that'll do for today. Another fairly detailed video, I suppose, really, for us. And thanks very much for tuning in. I really appreciate people joining me. I hope this technical analysis should integrate fairly well with whatever it is that you're having to look at. I just do this really to provide more context. I don't give you exact entries and exits when I can avoid it, as when I remember not to, which is most of the time I try not to, in order to make it so that, teach a man to fish, then he's back eating fish and chips at the chip shop the next day. Teach him how to fish, then maybe he'll get a real job and be able to feed his family after that. I don't know how the phrase goes, something along those lines. Anyway, yeah, just kidding. Thank you so much. I'll catch you in the next episode. I've been Rocky Outcrop. Hit that subscribe button. There's a video popping up here which you can hit again, which is the best one suggested for you by YouTube, or hit one of the cards that's come up throughout this video for one of the suggested videos that I also published today. And of course, if you're one of the first ones to view this, then that's maybe before I put these things on there, so whatever. But if you're viewing this later on, then that's for you. And yeah, share the video with a friend if you've got one that you think would like it. I really appreciate you tuning in.